One spring afternoon I decided to go into the little field and was just in time to see a coyote, much like this one, but with the more usual gray coat, flee into the woods before me. Unfortunately, a doe also spied him and set off in pursuit, uttering the usual blowing snorts to warn her fawns. When she had finished chasing him to her satisfaction, she saw me standing there. I could just imagine her saying, "What, you again?" When I realized she thought I was blocking her way, I moved over and let her pass by. This doe, with her yearling fawns, didn't seem too happy to see me in the middle of the field, and snorts her disapproval. As long as I don't move, they usually relax and move on. See how her daughter picks up the blowing snort? And notice how the deer always move parallel to me. I believe it gives them more time to pick up my scent and assess any danger from me. One day in Bushabelle Park, I was sitting quietly on a park bench when these two little fawns came by. They quickly looked at me, but I guess they were used to seeing people. One evening, after I'd finished filming beavers down the road from my house, these two little yearling fawns came out of the woods onto the trail I was taking. Even though they seemed surprised to see me, their curiosity held them there for a few minutes while I filmed them. This beautiful 10-point buck is the last of his line. Unfortunately, he doesn't seem to have left any progeny before being killed by hunters. I simply cannot understand why hunters can't leave the progenitors to breed. I guess a buck of this stature is too good to pass up and provides good bragging rights. This little buck apparently knew me from my scent and seemed to want to come closer. It seems that I am only allowed this privilege, because if I bring somebody else with me, the deer disappear. I think this is the same little buck, but a year later. Watch as the fawn swallows more food into one of his stomachs and then regurgitates more food. This is how a deer eats very fast in a dangerous zone and then finds a quiet place in order to regurgitate and enjoy it. In case you missed it, here it is again. For a while I fed these deer in my backyard with calf starter. This beautiful doe was eating food that I had put out. After I had seen the deer fighting at the feeding trough, I thought of simply putting it on the ground in different places, and it seemed to work quite well. However, it did not lessen the chances of predator attack, so as much as I disliked doing it, I discontinued feeding them altogether. Since they also had to cross the road to come here, and I saw that a deer had been killed on that road, I felt justified in doing so. However, some of the neighbors continued feeding them until the novelty wore off or the cedar hedges were being demolished. This deer had been killed by coyotes the night before. A little fox is taking advantage of the situation. These little fawns have come down on their own to have a little bite. Notice how one watches while the other eats. Their mother has come down and patiently waits for them to finish. My friend Pauline Blacquiere and I shared a similar passion for filming wildlife, and when she invited me to come to Duhamel, Quebec, I quickly accepted. The town had once set up a unique feeding area where we could see wild deer being fed, but it was gradually discontinued for lack of paying customers. One day we experienced a fawn and doe about to cross a busy road in the northern town and took advantage of it. One evening at home I decided to see if there were any deer in the cut cornfield, and lucked out. When this footage was taken I was standing next to a tree overlooking the cornfield and had an excellent view. The wind was from the west, was slanted away from me, and not until a curious matriarch got my scent and alerted the rest did I think my jib was up. She apparently knew who I was and only wanted to see where I was standing, so once this was accomplished she went back to feeding. The rest of the deer also, now reassured, also went back to feeding. So these are some of my adventures with the deer. You can always see the full episodes on Living with Deer in St. Hilaire. Thank you for watching.